welcome back to the channel. And today we've got the second half of the theme team tier list. So to look over, the last time we did this, it was only NFC teams, and here's my tier list. So we're just going to fill in the rest of them with all the AFC teams, and the first team we are going to start with is the Baltimore Ravens. Now, before we start with the Ravens, I want to give a huge shout out to Football Clips for giving this idea. He commented on one of my prior videos, and he gave me this idea. Absolute stud. Shout out to him. His channel is going to be in the pinned comment. And so here we go. We've got the Ravens. So they've got Ricky. They've got Lamar, who's going to get a golden ticket. So their quarterback situation is fine. Halfback, Priest Holmes and Gus the Bus is a great combo. Kyle Juicy Juice at fullback is great. Receivers. If you want Calvin and you can use Devin Hester in the slot, you're probably going to need to cheat with a third receiver, maybe get that Ring of Honor Randy Moss. But then you're set at tight end. You can even use Judon as a run blocker. Left tackle isn't great, but left guard, center, right guard, right tackle, you're set there. And you can even play Willie Anderson at left tackle. So that's a great offensive line. Madubuike at left end, Sam Adams at defensive tackle. And then Pat Ricard at right end, along with JPP. So that's actually a really nice defensive line. I'd probably use Haloti Ngata and Tony Siragusa. But that's a really nice D-line. Then you've got Justin Houston, Terrell Suggs, Patrick Queen, Ray Lewis, who's probably going to get an ultimate legend. And then Zadarius Smith. So that's a pretty nice linebacking core. Not even going to lie. And then corners, Deion Sanders, Anquan Bolden, Rod Woodson, Marlon Humphrey. So that's a really nice cornerback core. You can run man, you can run zone. And then you've got Marcus Williams, Ed Reed, Chuck Clark, Devin Hester, Kyle Hamilton, Justin Tucker. This team gives me absolutely, no question, S-tier vibes. I don't really think there's a scenario where the Ravens don't belong in S-tier with all of their depth at every single position. And the fact that you can really use cheats anywhere and you won't really have to pay for it. So now we've got the next team, which is the Buffalo Bills. Fitzpatrick and Josh Allen aren't exactly the best quarterbacks, but they're okay. I think You know what? 1 second. I need to check out this Fitzpatrick card. I need to know if he gets the quad stack for 3, or the god stack, whatever you want to call it. So he does get 1 AP slots. So, wait. So he's going to get Gunslinger, Hot Route Master, Set Feet Lead, and unless this guy has an extra ability tier that I'm not seeing, he gets the God stack for 4, so he's unusable. You're going to need to use a cheat at quarterback, or if you want to, you can use Josh Allen. Marshawn Lynch, Naheem Hines, great running backs. Reggie Gilliam is a really nice fullback. Robert Woods, Zay Jones, Stephon Diggs, Calvin if you want him. That's an all-right receiving core. Metzelaris and Dalton Kincaid, that's a nice tight end core. Metzelaris is a beast. He's 6'7". Ty Nsekhe, Roger Saffold, Mitch Morse, Harrison Phillips, Bruce Smith, right tackle. It's an all-right O-line. You could probably use a cheat at center, but that's all. You got Groot with the X Factor and Mario Williams. But then your defensive tackles are just nowhere to be found, so probably need to use a cheat there. But then you've got Bruce Smith and Von Miller, so you could actually sub in like Bruce Smith at D tackle if you wanted to. Cornelius Bennett, Tremaine Edmonds, London Fletcher, Logan Thomas. Those are really nice linebackers. Trey White, Troy Vincent, Rhodes closed with the X Factor. Corner Josh Allen would actually be up to 99 speed on this team, and he gets 0 PGs without some KO, so he's great. Damar Hamlin, Micah Hyde. Really nice free safeties. And then Metzelaris is an amazing user since he's 6'7", and then you can play Jordan Poyer up top. So I actually really like this team. But I actually think that although their defense is great, the fact that you need to use a cheat on the offensive line, the receivers aren't the best, tight end isn't the best, and you need to use a cheat at quarterback, this would be a team that I would almost consider S tier. I think they belong in A. The next team that we're going to be looking at is going to be the Bengals. Now, I think the Bengals are going to have a nice theme team, but they're only a 96 overall, so let's check this out. Need to use a cheat at quarterback. Daxton Hill at halfback. I think he'd probably be a good elusive receiving back, and then you've got Samaje Perine if you need him. Joe Mixon has only a 93. That's shocking to me. This team is giving me C tier vibes right now. Yeah, I know Hayden Hurst is a budget beast. This is the offensive line is good, and Munoz is a decent budget left tackle. Sam Hubbard's actually pretty fast. Cordell Volson is all right. Right now, it's giving me C tier vibes. Larry Ogunjobi, if you need it, you can use Sam Adams as your captain. Trey Hendrickson, Miles Murphy, that's decent. Willie Anderson, how tall is Willie Anderson? Let me see. First, does he get Lurker for 0? He gets Lurker for 0, so he's good. He actually also gets Secure Tackler. But how tall is he? 6'5"? That's actually a pretty nice user, if I'm not going to lie. And then Logan Wilson, you're going to need to use a cheat there if you're ever going to use a wideout. D tier. Chad Johnson, Jesse Bates, Von Bell, Michael Thomas. Those are great free safeties, strong safeties. You look at that cornerback core, you say D tier. Don't use the Bengals theme team. I know that they're so much fun, but if your best corner is a 96 overall Chidobe Awuzie, you don't belong in any tier. You belong in D tier. That is horrible. So the next team that we're going to be looking at here, that's going to be the Browns. So looking over at the Browns, their team is a 96. They're going to need to use a cheat at quarterback. Nick Chubb, Raheem Mostert. It's actually pretty good. Halfback core. You're going to need to use a cheat at fullback, though, unless you want Johnny Stanton fumbling the ball every single time he touches it on the kickoff team. Andre Rison, OBJ, Amari Cooper. That's a really nice receiver core. You can even use Calvin if you want him. Grant Delpit looks like he might be okay. The Chief at tight end. That's great. Left tackle's not great, but if you want to use Joel Bitonio, it's actually pretty good. Ethan Pochich at center. Austin Corbett at right guard and Jack Conklin at right tackle. It's like a B tier O line. I don't hate it. Speaking of this team, it's giving me A tier to B tier vibes so far. So we'll see about the defense. Ogba, Clowney, Dalvin Tomlinson, Jordan Elliott, Myles Garrett, Carl Banks, Christian Kirksey, J.O.K. Yeah, this is definitely A tier vibes right now. Martin Emerson, the Warden, and you're going to need to use Dion if you use this team because I don't want Troy Hill as my third corner. Jabril Peppers isn't a great free safety, but then you've got Jordan Poyer, Deshaun Gibson, and Grant Delpit would actually be a pretty good user. And then you've got the Scottish Hammer and Greg Joseph. So that looks to me like an A-tier team. I think that's an A-tier team. So, yeah, we'll put them there. You can see right now by most of the ratings that there are a lot of teams that are usable, but there are only six or seven teams so far that are top tier. Then you've got the Bengals sitting there lonely in D tier. But I'm not sure. I think they might be joined by somebody. I don't know how good the Broncos team is. Never mind. They have Tim Tebow. I thought their quarterback was going to be horrible, but Tim Tebow got sacked for 3. Halfback, you have a really nice 1-2 punch with Jamal Charles and Latavius Murray. Andrew Beck is a really nice fullback. Then you've got Brandon Marshall. Yikes. You're going to need to use Megatron. And Isaiah McKenzie, Jerry Jeudy, Cortland Sutton. No. Tight end is actually really nice. And then scrolling through this offensive line here, it's not bad. You're probably going to need to use a different right guard or right tackle, depending. But the left side and the center can make it happen. They'll be fine. Jonathan Harris, DJ. You can sub in Von Miller or DeMarcus Walker at D tackle if you need it. But if you're going to need to use Sam Adams at captain, that's all right too. Bradley Chubb. And then middle linebackers aren't great, which is not really something you want to see if you like playing them. But, yeah. DeMarcus Ware at right outside linebacker is actually pretty nice. Corners. That deserves a French kiss right there. Yeah, that's just amazing. That is really good. Vernon Davis is really a nice budget option, so when you have him as your 6th corner, you know you're pretty good. Justin Simmons LTD and Brandon McManus strong safety. along with JL Skinner, who's like 6'4". And then your special teams are all right. So I'm not going to say that they're D tier, like I originally said, but I think that they're B. And the reason I say that is because the receiver core needs work, and that's really not something that you would want looking at a theme team. So the next team that we're going to look over is going to be, who's it going to be? It's going to be the Texans. So Texans theme team, I think they'll be okay because they signed a lot of free agents, but I'm not sure if they updated chem. So they're 96 overall. Your quarterbacks are Fitz and CJ Stroud. They're 99s, but they're not really that good. Dirk Stingley, halfback. Damian Pierce, it's pretty nice. Troy Hairston, you're probably going to need to use a cheat unless you want to fumble the entire time. Bob Woods, D-Hop, Randall Cobb. Not great receivers. You'll probably need to use Calvin and D-Hop both with their X factors and then let Robert Woods just play. And then Dalton Schultz, OJ Howard. That's actually pretty good tight ends. And if you want to do so, you can sub in OJ Howard at receiver, and that would work well too. So you have Laramie Tunsil, Kenyon Green. The right side is really bad. So you're probably going to need to use John Madden and play him at right tackle and then use an actual cheat at right guard. But the offensive line is okay other than that. J.J. Watt, Vince Wilfork, T.J. Reader. I know Vince Wilfork isn't great as a starter, but he can get the job done. DeMarcus Walker. DeMarcus Walker's played for a lot of teams. I'm just noticing that now. Christian Harris, not a great outside linebacker, so you're probably going to need to rush the edge rushers. I know, right? What a concept. It's probably funny that I'm saying that. But Christian Kirksey, Zach Cunningham, Brian Cushing. Really nice middle linebackers. And then you've got Will Anderson. So if you need D tier, D-tier. D-tier. Are you kidding me? Your best corner's 95 Steven. No. Forget every single thing that I've ever said about this team. Forget them all. If your best corner is 95 Steven Nelson, you belong in D tier with the Bengals. And other than that, they were like a B to C tier team. But if your corners are that bad, you cannot be used. So I know like the Texans team might be fun to use with like CJ Stroud and Will Anderson. But just no. The answer is no. You cannot use the Texans. Next up, we've got the Colts. I think they're okay. I've seen a couple of Colts team online. Their quarterback is use a cheat. I know Anthony Richardson is like really nice to look at, but he's not a really good quarterback in MUT, so no. Yes, I do know that was a really weird stopping point, but I had recording issues, so we're back now, still on the Colts theme team. Like I said, Richardson, not a great quarterback, so you're probably going to need to use somebody different. But then you've got Marshall Faulk, Nyheim Hines. They're pretty good, and you can use Joe Perry at fullback. He's really nice, but receivers Andre Rison, and then nothing. It's not ideal at all. Cromartie or Isaiah McKenzie as your slot guy, and then you're going to need to use Calvin if you want to use this team. Edgerrin James, really good tight end, so that's good. Dwight Freeney, Quentin Nelson, Ryan Kelly, Will Fries, Chris Hinton. You're going to need to use a couple cheats if you're going to use this offensive line. Kwity Paye, good D end. DeForest Buckner, Al Woods, Tony Siragusa, good D tackles. Dwight Freeney, good right end. Then you've got Ted Hendricks, the Maniac, Cornelius Bennett. Those are really good. But then your middle linebackers are just really mid, so you're probably going to need to use our Ted Hendricks or play a different middle linebacker if you're going to use this team. And then right outside linebacker, you have... Did I see that right? Zaire Franklin, 98, is going for 3,000 coins. I don't know what happened. It's probably a glitch in the system. Maybe somebody sold them off for too cheap. They meant for like 300K. And then you've got corners really, really mid. I'm not going to lie. If you're going to use the X Factors on Gillylock and Roads Closed and the Maniac, then you're not really going to have an X Factor on your user, which is probably going to be Ted Hendricks. That's not great. And I know this is like somewhere that you could probably play man when the X Factors are on. But if they're off, that's pretty bad corner core. Julian Blackman, Ted Hendricks, strong safety. Those are two nice guys. If you want to play Nick Cross at strong safety, that's good too. And then you've got Malik Hooker, who's actually a really nice starter. And then you've got Matt Gay, Michael Badgley, Rigoberto Sanchez. So, okay, special teams. I think this team, I think they belong possibly in B tier. Probably C tier, though. I'm not going to lie. So the AFC is really a lot weaker than the NFC. So you're probably going to need to look at NFC teams first. The next team that we're going to look at is the Jaguars. And this is a team that you're going to need to grind for if you want to use. Because I think their starting quarterback is going to be Trevor Lawrence. So you're probably going to, or else you're going to have to use Mark Brunell or a cheat. So if you have that Trevor Lawrence, great. If you don't, use a cheat. Halfback, Travis Etienne, Jamal Charles, Leonard Fournette. Pretty nice halfback core. And then receivers are amazing. Zay Jones, Jimmy Smith. I accidentally almost stopped my screen recording. That would have been bad. But Andre Rison, Josh Allen, Zay Jones, Jimmy Smith, Calvin if you want him. Great. Evan Ingram, big dog at tight end. That's pretty nice. Anton Harrison. That's not a great offensive line. I was right. When I saw the receivers, I was probably thinking A tier. After seeing the O-line, I'm thinking B. And then Jihad Ward at defensive end. No, thank you. Devon Hamilton and Corey Peters are the only okay things at this defensive C tier. Giving me C tier vibes right now. If you want to play Arden Key at defensive end or Josh Allen, that would make them probably more usable, but not giving me great vibes from this front seven. And then your corners are pretty good. Darius Williams is nice, but I'm not really liking this team so far. Rayshawn Jenkins is an okay user, so Sammy Knight, Andre Sisco, Tashawn Gibson, good starters. Your special teams is not great. I think that based on the fact that you can play Arden Key and Josh Allen on the defensive line, I think this team deserves B. And if you haven't grinded for the Trevor Lawrence, they're C tier. So just remember that. So they're on the brink of B or C, but I don't really think that they belong in the same tier as a team like the Colts. So I think the Jaguars are definitely on a different tier than the Colts. So that's why. And then Kansas City Chiefs. If you don't think I'm putting them S tier, you're wrong, okay? The Chiefs are top of S tier. They're probably the best theme team in the game. And no, I'm not biased because I use them. And I already told you all in the last video, and if you haven't seen it, go check it out. I was thinking about switching it. I realized it wasn't worth the coins or the time to switch away from Chiefs. Joe Montana, Patrick Mahomes, Leon Sandcastle, all three usable quarterbacks. Priest Holmes, Leon Sandcastle, also Jamal Charles, three usable running backs. Okoye is a good fullback. Rison, Tyreek Hill. Marquez is actually really good. So that's a nice receiving core. Tony G, Travis Kelce. And then the O-line isn't great, but if you're going to use John Madden at left tackle, then it doesn't really matter. And then the centers are really good, so if you want to sub one in at left guard, the offensive line is fine. And then you've got Furious George, Emmanuel Ogba, Chris Jones, Frank Clark, and you can sub somebody in for Derek Nottie if you want to, although he plays above his overall since he's a big man in the middle. So then you've got Vrabel, Dunlap, Felix Enudike, Uzama. Nick Bolton and Derek Johnson aren't the best middle linebackers, but you can pass by them anyway. And then Willie Gay and Jamal Charles are great right outside linebackers. And then that's a really nice corner core. Marcus Peters is actually really good. Eric Berry, Leon Sandcastle, Sammy Knight. And then you can use cheats at strong safety, but based on the fact that I think this team is really good and you should use them, and it's the theme team I'm using, although I use a lot of cheats, which is fair, I think that the Chiefs do, at the end of the day, I think they do belong in S tier. Because, the fact is that since they're so, top-heavy, then you can use cheats at the parts where they're not, great, top of the list, and then that works. So The next team we're going to go over is the Chargers. So we'll look at them right here. They should be right next to the Chiefs. Yeah, here they are. Their quarterback is Drew Brees and Justin Herbert. Both get the God stack for 3, so that's great. LT and Eckler at halfback. Zandy Horvath at fullback. Pretty good right there. Quentin Johnson is 6'4" and gets 99 speed on this team, so he's good. Keenan Allen, good too. Mike Williams, he's also 6'4", so you've got a slot guy in Keenan Allen, and then 2 great outside receivers, Antonio Gates, and the man, the myth, the legend, Donald Parham. You're going to need to use Dwight Freeney because Rashawn Slater's discounts are horrible from what I've heard. You're probably going to need to use a cheat at left guard. Center is good. Right guard is amazing. Right tackle is amazing. So it's a pretty nice O-line if you're willing to use a cheat. Left end, Hunter Henry, Donald Parham. Great. Defensive tackle, Ty McGill isn't ideal, but you can probably sub somebody in. And then right end, you've got Dwight Freeney and John Runyon. So you can sub somebody in like John Runyon at D tackle if you want to. Joey Bosa only has a 94? That's weird. But you've got Eric Kendricks and Junior Seau in the middle. So that's really nice. And then right outside, you've got Kaiser White and Khalil Mack. So that's a really, really nice linebacker core. If you want to play Khalil Mack like at left outside, you're fine. And then corners, if you're going to use Dion, this is a great team. Jason Verrett is a very capable fourth corner if you're going to use Dion. Nazir Adderley, Thomas Davis, Derwin James, LaDainian Tomlinson, Rodney Harrison. A more than capable team. I can't think of a team more perfect for A tier. I can't think of a team more perfect for A tier, I'm not going to lie. So we're going to put them in A tier. And moving back up, we're going to go to I think it's going to be the Raiders, right? Yeah, Raiders and then Dolphins after them. So the Raiders are going to be down here. Yeah, here they are. Their quarterback is Ken Stabler, God stack for 3. If you don't have him, use a cheat. You've got Flash and Lynch and even Josh Jacobs in the backfield. So that's really nice. Keith Smith, fullback, really good. Andre Rison, Randy Moss, Jerry Rice. This is always one of the best theme teams every year. You know what? Yeah, let me just go put them in S tier before I forget. And I can't believe that, 1 second, something happened with Tier Maker. Yeah, I'm going to move back in. I think all my theme teams are going to be there. And I actually think that the Raiders belong in S tier. And when you look at their left tackle, you're thinking, it's bad. You're going to need to use Trent Brown. Don't think of John Madden as a cheat for this one, guys. He literally coached them for like 20 years, I think. And then you've got Netane Moody, Rodney Hudson, Andre James, Justin Tuck. You can play some of them out of position if you want, like to replace Jermaine Eluemunor and Gabe Jackson. So that's pretty nice. Defense. How is this legal? How is it legal to have this many studs on a defense? I don't even know. I don't know what to say. What do I say? They belong in S, yeah, pretty solidly. And then your kicker, punter, really serviceable too. I think that there's no point in saying that they're not S tier because they are. And then the next team we're gonna go over is gonna be the Dolphins. So they're gonna be somewhere around here. Yeah, there. 96. Your quarterback is gonna be Ricky Williams if you're gonna use this team, or Tua if you want. Raheem Mostert, Keith Byers, nice 1-2 punch it, halfback. Larry Sonka isn't a cheat when you're using this team, so he's good too. Your receivers are definitely more than capable, and if you're going to use Calvin, that's amazing. Use a cheat at tight end, though. Laramie Tunsil, The Terror, Liam Eichenberg, Ted Karras, Bob Hunt, Austin Jackson. Great. I don't really think that there's a problem there. So, Kevin Carter, you can probably sub, like, somebody in, like, Emmanuel Agba or Mario Williams at D-tackle. Robert Quinn, Jason Taylor, Christian Wilkins. Yeah, these are great. This is a great D line if you want to like set somebody in at D tackle. Like I don't know, play Robert Quinn and Jason Taylor at edge rushers, and play somebody like Kevin Carter at D tackle since he's a power rusher. I know Robert Quinn is a power rusher too, but like he's like a guy who could play outside linebacker. And then you've got outside linebacker actually, Bradley Chubb, Greg Jennings, Jalen Phillips. And then you've got Junior Seau and Jerome Baker at middle linebacker. So that's really, really good. If you're going to use Dion, this is, again, more than capable cornerback core. Chris Carter, again, more than capable fourth corner. I actually think he's a pretty solid corner in general. And then you've got Minka. And then your strong safety could use some work. But, again, looking back through it, I think that your halfbacks, your tight end, you've got some positions like halfback, tight end, strong safety that need work. So I'll say that. But again, this is another team. Like I think that the Seahawks and the Dolphins, if you want to argue them for S tier and you think I should put them there, I don't blame you for a second. So yeah, that's fine there. And then the next team that we're going to go over is my favorite team, the New England Patriots. S+, I'm just kidding. I'm kidding. I actually am not sure how good of a theme team they have this year. Last year, I ran Pats for a while. They were really good for a while. But your quarterback, Tom Brady and Cam Newton, I think Brady gets the God stack for 3. And then Cam Newton is like a guy fast break for 0 if you want to just like truck over somebody. That's fun. Flash and Ramondre, great halfbacks. And then you probably are going to need to use Zonka at fullback. And then you've got Randy Moss, Tyquan Thornton, Julian Edelman, or Darrelle Revis. So that's a really nice receiving core. Gronk, Matt Judon, Jonnu Smith. And then if you're going to use John Madden at left tackle, this actually isn't a half bad O-line. And the reason I'm saying that while staring at Mike on 1U is that I think he gets a free 0P ability. And so you can just equip that, and I think he'll play fine. Christian Barmore, Hunter Henry, Vince Wilfork, Chandler Jones. If you want to sub in a guy like Barmore at D-tackle, because I think that's what he was drafted for, that's fine. Vrabel, Junior Seau, free Teddy Bruschi, and Jonathan Casillas. It's like a B-tier linebacker core. Darrelle Revis, Marcus Jones, Aqib Talib, Ty Law, Asante Samuel, Logan Ryan, Chad Johnson, Rodney Harrison, Kyle Duggar. A-tier. Again, another team that I see right now as top of A-tier. So I'm going to put them right near the Seahawks Dolphins because those are teams that are top of A-tier. Don't get fooled by the Chargers, guys. They just are there because that's where I put them. I don't actually think they're top of 8 tier, so you know what? Let me fix that as I look for my next team, which is going to be the New York Jets. So, looking through here, the Jets are going to be down here, and their quarterback is going to be great because they're going to have 99 Aaron Rodgers, and if you want to run Tim Tebow, who I think gets fast break, that's great. LT, Breece Hall. I've seen this team a lot, so I actually think I'm just going to right now already just put them in S because I think they're S tier because their quarterbacks are great, halfbacks are great. Your receivers, if you're going to use Calvin and you're going to use Brandon Marshall, Rashad Perryman, Darrelle Revis, Garrett Wilson is more than fine. Tyler Conklin is a great tight end. That offensive line is really, really good. If you're going to use the cheat at right guard, then everything should be fine. Which actually I think you can do because you got John Madden if you want him. So John Franklin Myers, Solomon Thomas, Quinnen Williams. And then you've got Jason Taylor. And you can play Leonard Williams at D tackle or left end if you want to. So that's fine. Quincy Williams at left outside linebacker, not great. But then you've got Demario Davis as a middle linebacker. And if you put his game changer token in, he's a god. So consider that. And then you've got Will McDonald, who I think the Jets drafted. So I think he's a really good right outside linebacker. Darrelle Revis, Cromartie, Ty Law, Sauce Gardner. Great corners. Ed Reed, free safety, LT, Chuck Clark, and then Prez with the X Factor is actually a pretty good strong safety. And then you've got Legatron. I think this team does belong in S tier. And then the next team we're going to look over after this is going to be the Steelers. Steelers, normally they have a pretty good theme team, but I'm not sure how good they actually are this year. So they should be down here somewhere. Yeah. Here we go, Pittsburgh Steelers. Vic gets the God Stack for 4, but Shaz actually gets it for 3. So if you're going to use this team, Shazier is actually a capable quarterback. Or if you want to use Vic, that's okay too. James Conner, Jerome Bettis. I don't know why James Conner is receiving back, but I think that would be okay. Again, okay is the definition of Derek Watt. Receivers, pretty bad, but then you've got Pat Freiermuth and Darnell Washington. And Darnell Washington is like 6'7", so if you want to sub in a guy like Freiermuth at wide receiver, you'll be just fine. And then you've got Broderick Jones, Alan Faneca, Marquise Pouncey, David DeCastro, and then Mel Blount, right tackle, is really good. So, very capable O-line. Najee Harris at left end. Al Woods and the Gravedigger at D tackle, along with me, Joe Green, who was actually the first ever limited that I pulled, but I lost the footage. I was actually going to post that sometime like in the future as a short, but it would be fine. And then Cameron Hayward is a great right end. TJ Watt, Mike Vrabel, Devin Bush, Shaz, and then Alex Highsmith, great linebackers. Rod Woodson, Pat Pete, and then the new Joey Porter. You could run man with this team because Joey Porter has his universal coverage and Pat Pete is his one step ahead. Then Rod Woodson's just a really good corner. Minka and then Troy Polamalu are great. But you're probably going to need to use Ryan Shazier and Devin Bush on this team because you can't have Terrell Edmonds or Rod Woodson, free safety, playing in your box. So there's that. But you've got okay special teams. So I think this team, because of what I said about the Dolphins, Pats, Seahawks, etc., I actually think that this team, if you're going to use cheats at receiver, I think the Steelers might honestly be better than all three, but it is not by the margin that I want to put them on the same tier as a theme team like the Jets, the Eagles, the Chiefs, the Cardinals, the Raiders. I don't think they belong there. So although I think that they might be a little better, I don't think it's the point where they belong on a whole nother tier. And the last team that we're going to do is the Titans. So we've got this full tier list here, and we're just waiting on the Tennessee Titans, who are going to be basically all the way at the bottom here. Your quarterback is Ken Stabler and Steve McNair, so that's really nice. Chris Johnson, King Henry, nice 1-2 punch, again at halfback. Your fullback is mid with Kari Blasingame, and then Randy Moss, Robert Woods, A.J. Brown, Calvin if you want him. Really nice receivers. Jelani Walker, Johnny Smith, Chig Okonkwo. Really nice tight ends, because Chig, I think, is a really nice receiving tight end, and then Delaney Walker's a great blocker. Jalen Duncan, Roger Saffold, Peter Skoronski, Ben Jones, Nate Davis, and then John Runyon, along with Nicholas Petit-Frere. S-tier O-line, Kevin Carter, Al Woods, Tier Tart, Jeffrey Simmons, DeMarcus Walker, John Runyon, Aziz Al-Shire, Rashawn Evans, Zach Cunningham, Arden Key, Jack Rabbit, O'Dory Jackson, Caleb Farley, Roger McCreary, Dion if you want him, Logan Ryan, Kevin Byard, Derrick Henry, Amani Hooker. We're going to end this off with an S-tier team in the Titans, because I've actually seen quite a few Titans-themed teams, and throughout this entire year, I think they've been really good. So I think this is another team that does belong in this S tier. So we're going to look back through every single team we've done. So in S tier, we've got the Chiefs, the Cardinals, the Raiders, the Cowboys, the Packers, the Vikings, the New York Jets, the San Francisco 49ers, Titans, Eagles, Ravens, and Rams. So there are 10 very meta theme teams right now that I believe are my top 10. Now, if we're going to reorder them, I can do a video explaining which teams that I would put 10 through 1. A tier, we have the Steelers, the Seahawks, the Dolphins, the Patriots, the Bills, the Browns, the Bears, the Chargers, the Lions, the Giants, and the Bucks. These are usable theme teams, but they're a little less meta. In B tier, we've got the Falcons, the Commanders, the Broncos, and the Jaguars. You can win games with these theme teams, but they're not exactly great. In C tier, we've got the Panthers, the Saints, and the Colts. Don't use these theme teams. And in D tier, we've got the Bengals, and the worst theme team in the entire thing is the Texans. The Texans just can't stop being the worst, man. I feel bad for them at this point. But if you're using the Bengals or the Texans, it's honestly just really stupid. Just don't. Honestly, avoid these two teams at any possible cost. And, yeah, this is my full theme team tier list. And I really hope that you did